YouTube, what's cracking? My Camaro fans, my Camaro people. What's going on? What's cracking? I am back with another video. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hey, man. Yeah. We are in the studio right now, and I just can't get over the fact that the footage is amazing. You know, the lens, this new lens is killing, man. I'm not going to lie to you. It's just the blur. Man, listen, I can't get enough of it. Anyway, look, I got a cool video to show y'all, man. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Now, I got this one guy that got a Mustang, Charger, Challenger, and Camaros. And the question is, which one is better? All right? So now everybody got their own opinions, but I'm going to let him talk because obviously he said he had it all. So please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. But before we even watch this video, which one you think is better? Me personally, I don't think there are better. I just think that each little things could be better than the other. Or maybe it's just a difference. It's just a preference, really, not difference. Well, difference, you know, as well, but preference. But which one is your favorite? See what I'm saying? Please let me know down below. But let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. I'm just excited to see what he's gonna say.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the vlog, Car Connections. Make sure you subscribe.
But actually, you know what? Before we even start, let me ask my brother what he thinks. Let me ask him what he thinks. Hey. Quick question. So this guy. So check this out. So this guy, he said he has Mustangs, Chargers, Challengers, and Camaros. And the big question is, you know, which one's better? See what I'm saying? Now, what do you say about that? Because obviously, I mean, I've drove a Mustang before.
Facts, me too.
What do you say about that?
Depends on what you're looking for. I ain't gonna lie. If you know how to tune a Mustang properly and make that big go fast,
Yeah.
same with Camaros though. You can tune Camaros. I've never really seen a tuned Camaro all the way to the max yet.
No. I think it's easier to do that with a Camaro.
I can't say it then. I don't know. I can't say.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
listen, man, we're about to watch this guy video and we're about to see what the hell he talking about. All right. So let's get to it. I'm excited. Let's get to it, man. Let's go.
All right, quick post on this. A lot of questions specifically around how does this car compare to my other cars. A lot of you guys that have been close to the channel know that I have owned pretty much every muscle car that's been made most recently.
Damn.
If you go back to the channel, you will notice that I owned a Dodge Charger, wide body, in FA green. I think I had that car for about maybe a year, give or take. I also owned a 2019 actually, Camaro ZL1 1LE. And I also owned and I owned that one for about a year. Then I also had a Dodge Challenger wide body. It was white. I think I had that one also for a year. And now I own a 2022 Ford Mach 1. So since I've owned all three, people are asking me to make a comparison around what's my overall impressions. And the good thing is, again, I owned all of them and not just like your typical car reviewer that you see online, where they actually get a hold of these cars and they drive them for maybe an hour, or only get these cars. You know, they go to the dealership and they drive them around for maybe 20, 30 minutes. You get a whole other layer of perspective on these cars. And so I guess one thing that I'll share, and this is going to rock some people's boats, I already know it, because there's something in this world that there's this huge competition amongst muscle cars. You know, Challenger is too big. You know, the Camaro.
Who said that? Challengers are too big. Like, if you complain about Challengers being too big, man, bruh, shut up.
Oh, you can't see out of it. The Mustang, you know, it's outdated. You just go on and on. There's constant competition around these cars. But again, I owned all of them, and I'm going to tell you something right now that might be a shocker for some of you guys, and this is my personal belief and my personal comment. And again, I've owned all these cars, so this is not coming from just pie in the sky related to these cars. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is, how does a Camaro compare to the Mustang? The first thing, this should give you a clue automatically, is the first thing I'll share with you is that both of these cars, both GM and Ford, share the 10-speed automatic. They both actually got together and funded and did the co-development of the 10-speed automatic that comes in this car. That right there should automatically tell you a lot.
All right, let me just say this real quick. So I'm gonna just take that for his. I'm gonna just take his word for it. But imagine all these cars, all these V8s and all this. It's literally companies that get together and they make their own, but it's literally like it's the same company. But imagine we're just going back and forth about which one is better, which one's not better. Maybe they make this one is to go in a straight line and this one to go in around the curves and shit like this. But it's like the same company, but we're just fighting about which one's better. What if that's the same sign? But that's interesting to know that they do collab. So let's listen to what he's saying more.
Okay. What I'm going to tell you, when I look at this car and the way it drives and the way it handles, compared to the Camaro right now, they're like literally identical. I'm telling you guys. Just the way they feel and the way they drive and the way they handle. And again, I am comparing a Camaro ZL1 1LE with its track pack similar to this. Now, granted, it's not the GT500, and I'm sure that would give me a different atmosphere. So maybe there's not an apples to apples comparison, right? But I've also owned a Camaro SS.
Get out of here. Oh man. Okay. All right. Let's see what he talking about.
I am comparing apples. Both cars feel very well put together. And what do I mean by that is that the fit and finish on the cars is really, really good. The way the car feels when you're driving it, they feel really, really tight. Again, I say like a tank. When I say tank, in my head, I've never driven a tank, but I just imagine if you get on a tank, I would imagine everything feels very solid and grounded. And that's the way this feels, and that's the way the Camaro felt. They feel identical. It's almost like GM and Ford create this competition to sell.
That's what I just said. That's exactly what I just said. That I said maybe that could have been the deal. Maybe we're just fighting to know which one's better, but in their head is business. Okay, interesting.
Cars, but the reality is underneath the skin, they're extremely similar in the way they feel and drive. Okay? Now, I have noticed one difference.
I don't know about
between this and the Camaro. Because again, to me, they're almost identical in the way the cars feel. But one thing I noticed with this car is that the power does come in differently than the Camaro. And I think it has to do with the way they tuned the transmission on this car. You guys comment down below. But I feel like it holds the gear way longer. I'm still in the break-in period. I haven't launched it or done anything aggressive. She still sits under 500 miles. But what I will tell you is I have, pushing her a little bit just to get a pulse on it, and it just holds the gear. And what I did is I looked it up on Google and did some research. It's coming to find out that this car actually will redline. Again, you guys, you pony guys out there, keep me honest. I think it's 7,500 RPM. And I think the Camaro only goes up to 62 or 6,500. And you might not know, guys, but that does make the car feel a little bit different. In other words, when you press the car, it will hold its gear a lot longer, and it makes the car feel more powerful because it's holding it. And then the other thing is that again, similar transmission, but the transmission on this absolutely is tuned differently than the Camaro, for sure. This one is very quick shifting.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot about Mustangs, but I want to drive this one though. I want to drive a Mac. Mac, is it Mac 1? I want to drive one because I haven't drove one of these before. So I would love to drive one. You know what? I will go to the dealership. You know what? This is what I'll do on Friday. Hey, bro, this what we'll do. On Friday, we'll go to one of the Mustangs dealership and see if we could drive a Mustang and see the difference between both of them. All right, let's do it. All right, so yeah, let's keep going.
Extremely quick. Now, again, they're the same transmission. They both invested in creating this transmission. I think what's different is how they tune them are very different to each other. But again, guys, I'm telling you, extremely similar cars. Extremely similar. And these are not muscle cars, first of all. These are complete sports car. They have the muscle car heritage and lineage, but these are not muscle cars anymore, guys, okay? The Challenger and Charger are muscle cars. They're different than this.
Interesting. He said the Challengers are muscle cars, but these are sports cars. Let's see why.
These are extremely good at gripping the street and handling, both the Mustang and the Camaro. These are full-blown sports cars, first of all. So when we're comparing those cars, it's like apples to oranges. It really is. They're different cars for different people on what you're looking to drive. They're just different. They're genetically modified differently. They just are. They're different beasts of their own. This car, Camaro, very, very, very similar. I will give so the transmission's tuned, and then the other thing I will tell you for sure, and everybody says this, and it's true, I've owned them, you do get better visibility. There is better visibility off this car than the Camaro, but I will also tell you, after you've been driving the Camaro for maybe, say, 2-3 weeks, you won't notice a difference, guys.
That is true. That is true. That is true. That is true. It doesn't bother you anymore, especially if you know how to look, to get what you want to see. Also, if you have one of these, warnings, in your, I forgot the name of the thing again. Damn, it's your mirrors, really, your mirrors. It makes it easier, but it doesn't even feel like it's fucking tight. It's literally the same thing. So he's right. He's right. It doesn't feel like it's so small. It literally don't. I have mine sitting out like right now. It doesn't bother me.
You actually get used to it.
Right.
And it feels like any other car.
Yeah.
So a lot of people make a big thing on, especially early people that are reviewing this car. Oh, you can't really see out this car. It's like, well, yeah, dude, you got to drive it for about 2 weeks or a month and actually own the car to actually get used to the car. You will get used to the car. Trust me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Initially, it might feel weird, but after a while, it's like normal. And you will only notice a difference when you get out of the Camaro and you go into another car, how much more visibility you're getting out of other cars because you get used to driving the Camaro that way.
That's true.
The last thing I'll just say, because again, there's a lot of things around. Can you please compare them? First of all, again, I think I just gave you guys a quick clue around how does this and the Camaro compare to the Charger. Complete different. First of all, the Charger's a 4-door sedan. So I think the Charger sits on its own. It's its own entity, and it's a fantastic car. It's a badass car, guys. Right? That has 4 doors. And that can be very, very useful. Right? The practicality on that car is amazing. And the next thing I'll just share with you is that the Charger and the Challenger feel very different. Again, I own both, and I've had them for a period of time. The Charger actually feels a little bit more tidy up. It's a little tidy.
This guy said, The Charger and the Challenger feels different.
Charger and Challenger feel different.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact. That's a fact, bro. You drive a 300 horsepower Challenger, bro. That shit, it feel like nothing. You drive a 300 horsepower Charger. When you press the gas, the acceleration, you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? Push you back in your seat. That's why I fell in love with the Charger the first time I drove it. It was a regular GT. Press the gas, you feel the thing push you back in your seat. You feel like that thing giving you, you know what I mean?
Right. But
it's also lighter too, so like you feel all the power. You drive a GT, a Challenger, that thing, but it just feel like you in a regular car. It ain't push you in nothing.
all right. Let's keep going, fellas. Let's keep going.
It's a little bit more well put together. And the Challenger's a little bit more loose compared to the Charger. And loose meaning it's a little.
He said the Challenger's a little more loose. He said the Challenger's a little more loose compared to the Charger.
I can see that.
Interesting take though.
Loosey on the suspension. Not as much as a Charger. Again, the Charger's a little bit more tight compared to the Challenger.
Right.
The Challenger's a bigger car. The Charger's a bigger car guy. They're bigger cars, right? There's a big comment that a lot of people, they're just big boats. And, you know, you could take it for what it is. Remember, it's not a sports car, guys. Those are true heritage muscle cars. If you line this car up.
He said those are muscle cars. So he said these are sports cars like Camaros and Mustangs. He said Camaros and Mustangs are sports cars, whereas Chargers and Challengers are muscle cars. I don't know, nigga. I don't.
Maybe a Challenger. The Challenger's a muscle car. The Charger, bro, a Charger can get crazy. Mustang definitely a sports car for sure. That shit, it go crazy. It go fast.
So okay, but the thing is, he hasn't give a reason as to like or say the difference between
muscle cars.
Muscle cars. We like to know the difference between muscle cars and sports cars. See what I'm saying? In his opinion, but let's see what he's talking about because, you know, we still got a couple more minutes to watch.
And you line up the Camaro and you all line up, say, the Challenger, and you ask 10 people, which one is the closest to the original car built? The original 1970, 69, going back to the lineage, and which one's the closest? Just based off of looks. Don't even do anything else. I'm going to tell you guys, 9 out of 10 people are going to tell you the Challenger looks the most retro out of all of them. And when you drive that car, it's big. Your kids in the back will sit in the back very comfortably. This feels comfortable, but not as big as a Challenger. So, again, there's differences.
Facts.
These are sports cars. Challenger, Charger, they're more muscle cars. And I would even put the Charger more of a category of it's a sedan in muscle clothings when it comes to that, right? Because it looks great and drives great, but 4 doors to me is not. And again, this is now a biased opinion. It looks very muscle-like, but it's not a muscle car. It loses its heritage by doing 4 doors. It just does. Nothing against the car. I love the car. I own the car. But the Challenger out of all of this is the most true American muscle car. I don't care what you say about my Camaro fans out there and my Mustang fans. It's the truest muscle car of all 3, period. And 4 if you want to add it. So Camaro, Mustang, you guys need to let that die out. They're the same damn car. They might drive a little bit, feel a little bit different, but overall, I mean, they are very, very, very similar.
Hey man, I do have my opinion though. I do have my opinions. See what I'm saying? Mustangs, and Camaros, they're not the same, man. Let's just be honest. If you're talking about, nah, the transmission don't even feel the same though. Are you talking about like, okay, well, they're the same because they're V8s? Okay, well, we could agree on that. But it's a lot of other things you have to look at, man. But again, that's his opinion. I'm gonna keep my opinion. I'm not shit on Mustangs, but I love Camaros. I'm not opposed to owning a Mustang though. But hey, all right, let's keep going.
And so I think Ford and GM just does a fantastic marketing ploy to create competition amongst GM boys and Ford boys. And then, Dodge is always kind of the stepchild. They're always left out, if you want to call it. And they should, because they're not in the same, we like to treat them like they're on the same realm, and they're not. I'm just telling you, by owning on them, experiencing them on day to day, they're different cars. This and the Camaro are extremely close. I mean, I'm just telling you. It's basically the same car, just the styles are different. The branding is Ford instead of Chevy. The interior is different. Transmission settings are a little bit different. Yes, one's a 5.0 and the other one's,
6.2.
Whatever Camaro has. I can't even think. Was it an LS3? Or am I thinking LS4? Shit, you guys help me out. Comment down below. I don't even remember. It's been a while. But that's it, guys. I wanted to post this real quick because you guys have been asking what's the biggest difference. There's not much difference, guys.
Now, check this out. So now, we heard what the man say. Me personally, I agree to a certain extent. I mean, there are some things that he said that sounds valid. The original look, originality. The original look would be a Challenger. Yes, like when you say American sports cars, yes, you do see that. See what I'm saying? But as far as like Mustangs and Camaros, I don't know, man. They could be. I can't. I'm forcing myself to understand where you're coming from, but I'm not seeing it yet, man. I'm not seeing it yet. Maybe I need to drive a lot more of those, but I'm not seeing it yet, though. But it's just me. Now, the third question that we have. Third question. All right. What is a sports car versus what is a muscle car? All right. So let's look into that real quick. Let's look into that real quick. And then we will get right back to it. All right. So let's see. So check this out. We got a new video that I want to show y'all. And it's this guy talking about the difference between sports cars, supercars, and hypercars. But I want to know sports cars, muscle cars, what the fuck? But let's keep watching what he's talking about first, and then we're going to go right into sports and muscle cars, because these are the two differences. See what I'm saying? That each and every single one of us drives on a daily.
In the automotive world, performance cars are separated into three main categories: a sports car, supercars, and hypercars. But what is the difference between these three types of performance cars? Well, you're gonna find out in this video. And if that sounds interesting, let's get to it. And if you're new to this channel, my name is Victor Aldo, and on this channel you're gonna learn more about cars with videos like reviews, in-depth looks, and other cool stuff. And if you love cars and you want to know more about cars, then I suggest hitting that subscribe button and joining the YouTube family. Now, what is a sports car? The definition of a sports car may change depending on who you talk to, but generally speaking, there's some specific traits that define this category. Typically, a sports car will be small, lightweight, aerodynamic two-seater with high maneuverability and a low center of gravity compared to standard models. They make wonderful driver's cars, and they give you performance that you can actually exploit on a great road, rather than constantly thinking you need a racetrack. Sports cars are built to make driving fun and gratifying. Though it may have many similar attributes to supercars, they are more often affordable and have a lower top speed. However, their engine and performance engineering surpasses that of supercars in some cases. The sports car spectrum is arguably the broadest of all performance car category. A sports car can use rear, fore, or even front wheel drive in rare applications on entry-level cars. It can have
Yeah, I'm glad that he said entry level cars for the front wheels. Yeah, he got that. Okay.
engine either in the front, middle, or rear. But above all the tangible elements, a sports car must be fun and gratifying. And some examples of sports cars are a Toyota GT86, an Audi TT RS, and a Porsche 911 Carrera. And next up in the performance car category are supercars. Supercars reach well beyond the boundaries of sports cars in terms of speed, technology, design, and of course price. Supercars are generally a little bit harder to handle than sports cars and usually have over 500 horsepower. In general, supercars aren't quite as usable as sports cars. That's because they're more focused on performance, but the prestige of owning one is worth it. Supercars nowadays, however, are more usable than they've ever been, with cars like the McLaren 720S being something you could potentially use as a daily driver. The majority of supercars are mid-engine. The same applies for transmission, as most of them nowadays use either a paddle shifter or direct shift gearbox. Supercars can be rear or four-wheel drive, but certainly not front-wheel drive. Examples of supercars can be a McLaren 720S, a Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, and a Ferrari 488 Pista. And the last in this category of performance cars are hypercars. Hypercars bend the boundaries of the impossible. Literally everything about hypercars is next level. They push the limits of physics as the absolute pinnacle of automotive engineering. They bring with them a level of performance that requires a professional to process and manage. Hypercars are capable of such alarming speeds that they're no longer approachable. They are sensitive to touch. They are out of this world expensive, with the majority of them being well over $1 million, and they can barely contain their speeds, making them nearly impractical for public roads. Like supercars, the majority of hypercars will be mid-engine and they all feature a paddle shifter. They are the best of the best, expertly crafted, and when you step out of a hypercar, you're just happy to be alive. They are in an exclusive club, not just because of what they can do, but also because of how deep a person has to dig in order to purchase one. The very latest and revolutionary performance-enhancing technology usually debuts in an extreme form on a hypercar. And some examples of hypercars are a McLaren P1, a Ferrari LaFerrari, a Porsche 918 Spider, a Koenigsegg Agera RS, and a Bugatti Chiron. And that's it for this video, guys. And what are your favorite sports cars, supercars, and hypercars?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. I definitely agree. Man. All right. So now, let's check for sports and muscle cars. All right, let's get to it. Ladies and gents, we're back with another video that explains pony cars, muscle cars, and sports cars. What's the difference? All right, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's get to it, man. Let's go.
Hey guys, stay with First Place Auto Parts. Thank you so much for joining me in the studio today. You know, one of the things that gets under my skin just a little bit in the automotive aftermarket, especially in the press, is that every car is considered to be a muscle car, and look, that's just not the case. There's literally classifications for different types of cars, and it goes something like this. You've got your muscle cars, and then you've got your pony cars, and then you have your sports cars. Look, they're different vehicles, and everyone tends to lump them into the same combination. It's just not the case, especially in the 60s and 70s. Look, in the late model vehicles, it's gotten a little harder to differentiate between a pony car and what a muscle car is, but there's still some things that you can look for. And in today's video, what we're going to do is...
The confusion is it's the difference between the muscle cars and the sports cars. That's because that's what people are used to. So let's see what he's talking about.
We're going to better identify those things so that you know whether you have a muscle car, a pony car, or a sports car, because not every pony car was a muscle car, and certainly not every sports car was a pony car. So guys, stay tuned to today's video, and after the time we're done with it, you'll have a better understanding of what you're driving. Hey guys, if you like today's video, please consider subscribing to the First Place Auto Parts YouTube channel. We're going to continue as a muscle car, but the truth is that wasn't always the case. Back in 1964 and a half, really back in 1965, Ford unleashed the Ford Mustang. And look, this was truly the sense of the birth of the pony car. A pony car, well, it's typically something that has a V8 engine or a straight six-cylinder in it, but typically the V8 engine was a smaller V8, like a 289 or a 302. Yes, there were some pony cars that had bigger motors, but originally the pony car, it had a smaller V8 engine in it. They were two doors and they were smaller cars. They were aimed towards a youthful or a younger market. They were meant to be fun to drive, sporty, and most importantly, perhaps affordable. But not only was the Mustang a pony car, but cars that came after it like the Camaro and also the Barracuda were all considered to be pony cars.
Camaros too? Ah! Let's keep watching. I got a Camaro.
cars. Now the pony cars, they were fun to drive. Men and or women could drive them with little to no problem. They could be daily driven, but again, these cars tended to be a little bit smaller, had more of an emphasis on handling and youthfulness than they did actually all-out performance. They were great for corners. They were okay for going in a straight line, but the pony car market, it was unique to itself, and those cars are unique as well. And the best way to tell a muscle car is that it was just that much bigger. It was everything about a muscle car is big, where pony cars were.
Hi. All right. So check this out. So this guy said, sports cars are smaller.
Like two-door coupes type shit.
Right. Muscle cars are bigger. So hence the reason why the first guy that we watched was saying how
Challengers and Mustangs.
right. So I'm thinking that's probably why he said that this was a
Right.
It makes sense though, right?
So sports cars are smaller. They're supposed to be sporty and agile, be able to move around.
Probably.
The muscle cars are just muscle but big.
Right.
I mean, it makes sense in a way.
Makes sense. But all right, well, let's see what this guy keeps talking about, and then we'll get back to it. All right.
Felt little machines that had smaller V8s. You could haul 2 people in it, maybe 3 or 4 in a pinch. An American muscle car, it was bigger in every sense of the word. The first acknowledged muscle car, well, that was the 1949 Oldsmobile Rocket 88 that could reach 0 to 60 in, get this, 13 seconds. Look, that isn't much at all today. Most of your subcompact cars can hit that. But back in 1949, that was screaming. That was really hauling the mail. So the muscle car market is basically a formula of a large engine and an intermediate sized car. Really, the one that really kicked it off was when John DeLorean stuffed that larger Pontiac motor, defying all the bands that GM had at the time, and putting it in a Pontiac Tempest. And now came the GTO in 1964, which is really the kind of the second coming, or what we would consider to be the birth of the modern muscle car. Now, the Ford Galaxies, the Plymouth Satellites, and also the Chevrolet Impalas, those things were all the basis for what would ultimately become some of the hottest muscle cars ever made in the mid-60s all the way up until the early 70s. It's like they don't really turn all that well, muscle cars don't, but they go in a straight line exceedingly well. Typically have a longer wheelbase, which helps with straight line stability, but an American muscle car, look, it can be a 2 or a 4-door, it can even be a station wagon, and it was totally a different animal than a pony.
So a muscle cars could be so he said a muscle cars could be 4 doors. A muscle car could be 4 doors or 2 doors. That is crazy because we would think that the Camaros be a muscle car. Damn, that's crazy. That's much of a interesting.
So the Camaro is a sports car.
Yeah, it's not classified as a muscle car. It's a sports car.
What classifies something as a muscle car?
What would do that would be, oh my gosh, a bigger engine.
So like V8s and all.
Yeah, a bigger engine, because there are small V8s, but a bigger engine, in how big the car is.
It's about size.
Right, it's about sizes. So then, a muscle car give you all the handlings and everything that a muscle car might have, but it gave you more of a technology, and it's way cheaper. But that's how he explained it. Interesting though.
Yeah.
Interesting take.
Car. The pony car was really meant for handling. It was really geared towards a more youthful or a younger audience. The American muscle car cost more, were a bigger vehicle, were meant to go in a straight line, didn't handle nearly as well as a pony car.
It meant to go in a straight line.
Sports cars or muscle cars?
Muscle cars. So here's the
SRT.
reason. So yeah. So SRTs and all these in all these cars.
Like if you hear somebody say a car can corner roads, it's a muscle car.
Is it?
The sports car gonna give you all that.
Isn't that crazy? That is wow.
That makes sense.
It makes sense now though. It makes sense. Wow. But handling would be a sports car. Okay. I'm cool with that.
and were aimed at a little more mature, if you will, or more affluent. Look, it took some money to buy some of these muscle car packages back in the 60s and early 70s, maybe more so than what the pony car market would have sustained or offered at that point in time. But the American muscle car, look, that is your bread and butter of the automotive aftermarket. They're robust, they're big horsepower, big bodies, and big fun. And then you get to the
big horsepower, big bodies. Okay.
Sports car crowd. And look, sports cars, they're kind of a dirty word at the drag strip. And I learned that the first time I took my 73 Corvette to go run down the quarter mile. Look, the thing was pretty hot. It had side pipes, some motor work, and nitrous oxide. And I was ready to go down the drag strip. But the doggone announcer in the tower, every time I lined up, reminded me that I was not in a muscle car. I was in a sports car. And quite honestly, I kind of took offense to that. But you know what? He was right. Sports cars typically are a lower slung type vehicle that have a lower center of gravity, and they have an extreme focus on handling. They're always rear wheel drive, and quite honestly, a lot of times they're only 2-seat vehicles. It's a different crowd. It's a different type of tool. Look, if you're going for something twisty on a daily drive, the sports car is going to be a lot of fun, but you're not going to haul a lot of people or a lot of things with it. Yes, the Corvette is a sports car. It cars up twisty canyons like nobody's business. It can go in a straight line, but it's so limited in its focus, and that's part of the allure of a sports car. But there is definitely a difference between a sports car and a muscle car. There were sports cars that had big V8 engines in it, like the L88 Corvette, and yes, you can drag race those, but their real forte was a mid-size V8 engine that had higher RPMs, because it helped with the weight distribution. Yes, it could go fast in a straight line, but its real specialty was those twisty turns. It really excelled at that. So when you get down to it, you know, when you have the muscle car, which was a sledgehammer, right? That thing was meant for going in a straight line very fast. It could haul people, but it kind of extracted a toll to do that. A lot of your hardcore muscle cars. A sports car doesn't haul a lot of people, but it handles very well. It's kind of on a razor's edge. They're a little twitchy. You can't haul as much stuff in them, and they're not nearly as useful as a daily driver. And then you get to the pony car, which was kind of that midpoint between muscle car and sports car. It combined a little bit of the handling of a sports car, but you got the forward thrust of a kind of that midpoint. You can't haul as much stuff in them, and they're not nearly as useful as a daily driver. It's kind of on a razor's edge. They're a little twitchy. You can't haul as much stuff in them. And
hold on.
Muscle car, which was a sledgehammer, right? That thing was meant for going in a straight line very fast. It could haul people, but it kind of
muscle cars. This is
muscle car, which was a sledgehammer. You get down to it, you know, when you have the muscle car, which was a sledgehammer, right? That thing was meant for going in a straight line very fast. It could haul people, but it kind of extracted a toll to do that. A lot of your hardcore muscle cars. A sports car doesn't haul a lot of people, but it handles very well. It's kind of on a razor's edge. They're a little twitchy. You can't haul as much stuff in them, and they're not nearly as useful as a daily driver. And then you get to the pony car, which was kind of that midpoint between muscle car and sports car. It combined a little bit of the handling of a sports car, but you got the forward thrust of a muscle car, and you also got that American rugged good looks in the classic pony car market. Look,
makes sense. It makes sense. Now, there you go. This is the difference between sports car and a muscle car. This is one of the best videos I've ever done. Man, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Man, that is some great information that I even got from watching with you guys. All right, so there you go. All right, so please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, I'm out of here.